Relief is finally coming for car buyers. KSBY News reporter Kimberly Cruz has details on the price shifting that's happening both in the new and used car markets.
Your mechanic knows the truth, but no one else will tell you. Behind closed doors, service shops have been warning against these 13 models. Cars that look safe, even smart, but hide crippling problems and sky-high repair bills. The shocking part? Many come from brands you thought you could trust. Which vehicles are they begging you to avoid? Why are dealerships still pushing them? And what happens if you're already locked into a loan? Toyota CHR. At the 13th spot on our list, we shine a bright spotlight on a vehicle that promised edgy design, but ended up tripping over its own ambitions. The Toyota CHR. When this compact crossover first arrived in showrooms, it was supposed to represent Toyota's answer to a new generation of urban drivers who wanted bold styling and nimble maneuverability. Instead, it quickly became an awkward experiment that failed to deliver the practicality Toyota is known for. The C-HR looks aggressive, with sharp angles and coupe-like proportions, but once you slide inside, reality hits hard. The rear seats are cramped to the point where even average adults feel squeezed. The cargo space is shockingly limited, and visibility through the back glass is more like peering through a keyhole than a windshield. Buyers expecting Toyota's usual blend of sensible comfort and usability found themselves puzzled. Even more disappointing, the CHR never offered all-wheel drive in the United States of America, a glaring omission in a segment where shoppers often demand the added confidence for slippery roads and winter storms. Under the hood, the story does not improve much. The four-cylinder engine provides sluggish acceleration, requiring more than 11 seconds to reach 60 miles per hour. That makes simple tasks like highway merging feel like extended battles rather than smooth maneuvers. Sales followed the same trajectory as the driving experience, downhill. What started as a flashy new addition soon turned into one of Toyota's weakest performers, leading to the announcement that it would be discontinued after the 2022 model year in the American market. So as we move away from Toyota's misfire, let us turn our gaze towards Chevrolet, a brand that has its own entry that looked affordable at first glance, but carried serious mechanical warnings underneath. Chevrolet Trax. Sliding into the 12th position, we arrive at the Chevrolet Trax, a subcompact sport utility vehicle that never managed to live up to its promise of being an affordable gateway into the crossover world. On paper, the Trax checked all the boxes that budget-minded families and young professionals wanted. Small size for city parking, tall ride height for a commanding view, and a badge from one of America's most recognized manufacturers. Yet beneath that simple checklist lurked a vehicle that fell short in critical areas, leaving many owners wishing they had looked elsewhere. The Chevrolet Trax's interior was cramped from day one, with rear seating that felt tight, even for teenagers, and cargo space that barely handled a grocery run. The engine, a 1.4-liter turbocharged four-cylinder, delivered uninspired performance, struggling to merge onto highways or climb steep grades with confidence. Owners frequently reported that pushing the Trax's hard-drained fuel economy and added unwanted engine noise, making long trips feel tiring. Reliability surveys raised even more red flags. Mechanics consistently warned of transmission concerns appearing before the odometer reached 100,000 miles, often demanding expensive repairs that wiped away the initial price savings. Depreciation was another heavy blow. Within only 3 years of ownership, the Trax could lose nearly half its original value, creating an economic trap for those who financed over long loan terms. Competitors such as the Honda HR-V or the Hyundai Kona delivered stronger resale values and better everyday usability, leaving the Trax lagging in nearly every meaningful comparison. With such a mix of underwhelming power, questionable long-term durability, and sinking value, the Chevrolet Trax remains a cautionary tale. And as we shift gears from Chevrolet's smallest crossover, the countdown takes us toward a luxury sedan that still wears a premium badge, but shows its age every time you turn the key. Infiniti Q50. Taking the 11th place on our list is a car that once carried the hopes of an entire luxury division, but now feels more like a relic than a rival. The Infiniti Q50 was introduced during the early 2014 model year as the successor to the much-loved G sedan. And back then, it seemed like Nissan's luxury arm had finally built a true competitor to the German heavyweights. Buyers were promised a blend of Japanese reliability, with European driving dynamics. Yet as the years rolled by, the Q50 stood still, while the competition kept moving forward. Step inside a modern Q50, and the age shows immediately. The interior still uses a confusing dual-screen infotainment system, where the top screen and bottom screen operate on completely different software, leaving drivers frustrated instead of impressed. Premium materials appear in some areas, but closer inspection reveals hard plastics and cost-cutting touches that do not belong in a vehicle with a price tag that often pushes past $50,000. Under the hood, the 3.0-liter twin-turbocharged V6 engine does provide brisk acceleration, but owners frequently report electronic gremlins and problems with the complex steering-by-wire system. Repairs can easily climb into the thousands once the basic warranty ends. Depreciation is another unforgiving enemy. Within only 3 years, a well-equipped Q50 can lose close to 60% of its original value, leaving many original buyers stunned when it comes time to trade in. Competitors such as the Lexus IS and the BMW 3 Series hold their worth far more effectively, making the Infiniti a financially risky choice. As we close the book on this fading luxury sedan, prepare to look upward in size, yet downward in value. Because our countdown next turns toward a family-oriented crossover that carries a premium badge but brings along plenty of frustration. If you're enjoying this countdown, hit that like button and drop a comment below sharing your worst car buying regret. Your story might save someone else serious money. Infiniti QX60. Landing in the 10th slot is a crossover that promised luxury comfort for the whole family, yet delivered a long list of compromises. The Infiniti QX60, originally launched more than a decade ago, was supposed to be Infiniti's answer to rivals like the Acura MDX and the Lexus RX. Early buyers were drawn in by sleek styling, a well-appointed cabin, and the allure of owning a premium Japanese nameplate without stretching into German price territory. Unfortunately, reality has often been far less glamorous for those who signed on the dotted line. One of the most persistent complaints comes from the powertrain. Older versions relied on a continuously variable transmission that became notorious for premature failures, sometimes requiring repairs costing upward of $5,000. Even though the more recent redesign swapped in a 9-speed automatic gearbox, the reputation damage was already done, leaving mechanics cautious and resale values depressed. Reliability surveys repeatedly show electrical problems and malfunctioning infotainment units that frustrate owners well before the odometer hits 100,000 miles. Inside the cabin, the QX60 offers 3 rows of seating, but comfort diminishes rapidly the farther back you go. Adults relegated to the 3rd row often describe it as cramped and suitable only for short trips. Compared to competitors, the Infiniti lacks the refinement and cutting-edge safety features that modern buyers expect. Financially, the vehicle suffers another major blow in depreciation. Within 3 years, an Infiniti QX60 can lose more than half of its original sticker price, creating a costly mistake for families who assumed a premium badge meant lasting value. Leaving behind Infiniti's troubled crossover, we shift our attention toward an American luxury brand that tried to disguise mainstream engineering with upscale marketing, only to stumble just as hard in execution. Cadillac XT4. Holding the 9th position on our list is a small luxury crossover that should have been a success story, but instead turned into a lesson in unmet expectations. The Cadillac XT4 entered the market during the late 2018 model year with the mission of drawing younger buyers into the Cadillac family. On the surface, it offered modern styling, an upscale badge, and technology features meant to rival the German competition. Yet despite the initial excitement, the XT4 quickly revealed cracks in its foundation that buyers and mechanics could not ignore. Step into the cabin, and disappointment greets you almost immediately. While Cadillac promised refinement, what many owners found were hard plastics, uninspired layouts, and build quality that did not live up to the premium price tag. Under the hood, the turbocharged 2.0-liter engine produced acceptable horsepower, but it was accompanied by reports of reliability concerns involving the turbo system and electronics. These issues often left drivers with repair bills stretching into the thousands well before the vehicle reached 100,000 miles. Depreciation has also hammered the XT4's reputation. Within only 3 years of ownership, the vehicle can retain barely more than 40% of its original value, a staggering drop that makes leasing more attractive than buying. Comparisons to the Audi Q3, BMW X1, or Mercedes-Benz GLA highlight the shortcomings even further, as those rivals consistently offer superior materials, stronger resale value, and a more satisfying driving experience. So, as we leave behind Cadillac's smallest crossover misstep, the countdown moves forward to another American luxury brand that attempted to reinvent itself by dressing up a mainstream design, only to discover that buyers were not so easily fooled. Lincoln Nautilus. Claiming the 8th position in our countdown is a crossover that was supposed to elevate Lincoln's reputation, but instead highlighted how thin the line can be between luxury and ordinary. The Lincoln Nautilus rolled onto the scene during the 2019 model year, essentially replacing the Lincoln MKX and carrying high expectations. On paper, it promised a refined American alternative to German and Japanese mid-size sport utility vehicles. In practice, however, the Nautilus struggled to distinguish itself beyond being little more than a Ford Edge wrapped in a fancier suit. Mechanics often point out that the shared platform and components with the Ford Edge mean the Nautilus does not truly deliver the premium driving experience that its higher price suggests. Shoppers who spent upward of $50,000 quickly realized that much of what they purchased could be found in a vehicle costing $15,000 less. Owners have also reported frequent headaches with electrical systems, glitch-ridden infotainment units, and power equipment failures. These issues tend to appear just outside of warranty coverage, leaving repair bills that easily climb beyond $1,500 per incident. Depreciation is another cruel blow. Auction data shows the Nautilus typically retains less than half of its original value after 3 years, making it one of the weakest performers in the luxury crossover class. Meanwhile, rivals such as the Lexus RX, BMW X3, and Mercedes-Benz GLC offer better reliability, stronger resale, and far more prestige. It is little wonder why Lincoln announced the discontinuation of American production, turning the Nautilus into an afterthought in showrooms. As we roll away from Lincoln's attempt at mid-size luxury, our countdown drives straight toward a sedan that has been lumbering along for decades without meaningful updates. A car so outdated it feels like a blast from another era. Chrysler 300. Taking the 7th slot is a sedan that once turned heads with bold styling and muscular presence, but has since become an artifact of a bygone era. The Chrysler 300 first thundered onto American roads during the 2005 model year, and back then it was celebrated for its wide stance, imposing grille, and optional HEMI V8 power. For drivers seeking affordable swagger and Detroit steel, the 300 delivered in spades. Yet as time marched forward, Chrysler allowed this full-size sedan to wither on the vine without the meaningful updates needed to compete in a modern market dominated by technology and safety. Mechanics often describe the 300 as outdated from bumper to bumper. The underlying platform traces its roots back to the Daimler-Chrysler days of the early 2000s, and despite minor refreshes, the suspension, electrical systems, and transmission remain prone to problems. Warranty claims reveal recurring issues with failing alternators, electronic glitches, and premature suspension wear, all of which can add up to repair bills running well over $2,000. Safety is another area where the 300 falls behind. Small overlap crash tests reveal weaknesses in occupant protection, and the absence of modern driver assistance features leaves it feeling decades behind rivals. Depreciation compounds the pain. Within 3 years of purchase, the Chrysler 300 can lose more than 60% of its original value, erasing tens of thousands of dollars for owners who thought they were investing in American luxury. Competing sedans such as the Toyota Avalon or Dodge Charger deliver far stronger resale and more modern amenities, leaving the Chrysler stranded. Leaving behind this aging dinosaur of a sedan, the countdown now steers directly into the territory of bargain hunters, where a budget subcompact hatchback from Mitsubishi proves that the lowest price does not always mean the smartest purchase. Mitsubishi Mirage, holding the 6th position, is a vehicle that illustrates the harsh truth that being the cheapest new car in America does not automatically make it a wise investment. The Mitsubishi Mirage, available as both a hatchback and a sedan, has long been marketed as the budget-friendly solution for first-time buyers or anyone simply wanting basic transportation. Introduced to American shores during the 2014 model year, the Mirage was designed to capture cost-conscious drivers who placed affordability above all else. Unfortunately, its shortcomings in safety, performance, and long-term value quickly overshadowed any savings at the dealership. Mechanics frequently caution owners about the Mirage's tiny 3-cylinder engine, which produces a meager 78 horsepower. Reaching 60 miles per hour can take well over 12 seconds, making highway merging and passing maneuvers feel genuinely hazardous. Despite its minimal power, real-world fuel economy does not dramatically outperform larger and more refined competitors. The Mirage's cabin is equally underwhelming, offering thin materials, limited comfort, and an interior that feels a generation behind rivals. Safety is perhaps the most alarming weakness. Crash test ratings from the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety show below-average results, particularly in the small overlap front crash test, leaving drivers and passengers vulnerable in real-world accidents. Depreciation adds another blow. Within only 3 years, a Mirage often loses more than half of its original value, leaving owners with little equity and few interested buyers. When compared to slightly used vehicles such as the Honda Fit, Toyota Yaris, or Kia Rio, the Mirage struggles to justify its place on the road. With the Mirage proving that the lowest sticker price can carry hidden dangers, our countdown now shifts toward Nissan, a brand that built an entire lineup of crossovers but somehow created one of the most forgettable mid-size sport utility vehicles on sale today. Nissan Murano. In the 5th spot of our countdown sits a crossover that once carried a reputation for stylish design, but has now faded into near obscurity. The Nissan Murano made its debut during the early 2003 model year, marketed as a bold, curvy alternative to the boxy sport utility vehicles of its time. For a while, it worked. The Murano offered a smooth ride, a comfortable interior, and a distinctive look that helped it stand out on suburban driveways. Fast forward 2 decades, however, and this mid-size crossover has barely evolved while competitors have surged ahead with sharper technology, improved safety, and more efficient drivetrains. One of the Murano's biggest weaknesses comes from its continuously variable transmission, a design Nissan has leaned on heavily across its lineup. Mechanics frequently warn that these transmissions suffer from premature wear and catastrophic failures just beyond warranty coverage, with replacement costs soaring above $4,000. Add to that an aging 3.5-liter V6 engine that delivers respectable power but falls short on fuel economy, and the Murano begins to feel dated in a segment where efficiency and durability matter. Leaving the Murano behind, our countdown heads into pickup truck territory, where Nissan tried to go head-to-head with Detroit's giants, only to create one of the most spectacular failures in the entire full-size truck segment. Nissan Titan. Coming in at the 4th position is a truck that tried to muscle into America's most competitive segment, but ended up waving the white flag. The Nissan Titan was launched during the 2004 model year with the goal of challenging legends like the Ford F-150, Chevrolet Silverado, and Ram 1500. At first, it looked promising with a burly V8 engine and bold styling. Yet despite these efforts, the Titan never managed to win the trust of loyal full-size pickup buyers. Instead, it has become an afterthought in a market where reputation and capability are everything. Mechanics often point out that the Titan fails to excel in any one area. It does not tow more than rivals, it does not deliver better fuel economy, and it does not provide superior technology. Owners frequently report issues with differentials, braking systems, and electrical components, which can add up to repair bills exceeding $2,000 per incident. The story becomes worse when resale values are considered. Within only 3 years, a Titan typically holds on to just around 45% of its original sticker price, making it one of the weakest financial choices among full-size trucks. As we roll away from Nissan's doomed attempt to crack the full-size truck code, the countdown shifts to a brand usually celebrated for sensible reliability. Yet even Toyota managed to create a crossover so confused in its identity that buyers never really understood why it existed at all. Volkswagen Arteon. Securing the 3rd spot on our countdown is a car that looked ready to elevate Volkswagen into premium territory, but ended up stranded between 2 worlds. The Volkswagen Arteon arrived in American showrooms during the 2019 model year, positioned as the stylish successor to the outgoing Volkswagen CC. With sleek coupe-like lines, a hatchback trunk, and pricing that often soared above $43,000, the Arteon was supposed to lure buyers who wanted European flair without paying Audi or BMW money. Yet from the start, the Arteon faced an identity crisis that few shoppers were willing to overlook. For one thing, the Arteon wore a mainstream badge while demanding luxury-level cash. Loyal Volkswagen buyers balked at the higher price, while traditional luxury customers saw little reason to pick an Arteon over an Audi A4, a BMW 3 Series, or a Mercedes-Benz C-Class. Depreciation quickly hammered its reputation, with 3-year-old models retaining only about 38% of their original value. That translates to tens of thousands of dollars evaporating, even when mileage remained modest. Mechanics also raised concerns with recurring issues in electrical systems, water pumps, and panoramic sunroofs, with repair bills averaging more than $1,800 per visit. As we close on Volkswagen's failed premium experiment, our countdown accelerates toward the world of Italian luxury, where Maserati produced a sedan that costs as much as a mansion renovation but depreciates faster than almost any vehicle in America. Maserati Ghibli. Taking the second position is a car that embodies the risks of chasing exotic style without considering the long-term financial hit. The Maserati Ghibli, first introduced to American buyers during the 2014 model year, promised Italian flair, seductive exhaust notes, and a badge dripping with heritage. For a brief moment, it seemed like a more attainable gateway into the Maserati lifestyle, positioned below the Quattroporte, yet still carrying an aura of exclusivity. But over the years, the Ghibli has revealed itself as one of the most punishing investments on the road. Mechanics frequently note that while the Ghibli looks and sounds special, its build quality falls far short of expectations for a vehicle starting near $78,000 and easily surpassing $95,000 with options. Owners have discovered familiar Chrysler-sourced switchgear scattered throughout the cabin, an embarrassing detail for a car priced in the same league as German flagships. Even worse, reliability statistics tell a grim story. Electrical systems malfunction at rates several times higher than competitors, and repairs regularly exceed $2,800 per incident. Transmission concerns have also surfaced, despite the use of the well-respected ZF 8-speed automatic. With Maserati's costly misstep leaving wallets bruised and garages empty, we now reach the final entry in our countdown. Prepare for the #1 worst seller in America, a British luxury crossover that wears a proud badge yet delivers one of the most financially disastrous ownership experiences imaginable. Before we reveal #1, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications, because the next video could be the guide that saves your wallet from another bad decision. Jaguar E-Pace. Claiming the #1 position as the worst-selling vehicle in America is the Jaguar E-Pace, a small luxury crossover that entered the scene with high expectations, but has since become the poster child for poor value. Debuting in the United States during the 2018 model year, the E-Pace was intended to capture younger buyers and expand Jaguar's presence in the lucrative compact crossover segment. On the surface, it offered striking styling, a premium badge, and the promise of British sophistication in a family-friendly package. Beneath that polished exterior, however, lurked a range of issues that caused buyers and mechanics alike to steer clear. Performance was underwhelming from the start. The turbocharged 4-cylinder engines produced adequate numbers on paper, but real-world driving revealed sluggish response and uninspired fuel economy. More troubling were the reliability concerns. Mechanics consistently reported electrical gremlins, infotainment glitches, and frequent issues with the 9-speed automatic transmission. Average repair bills for these problems often climbed past $2,200, draining owners long before warranty coverage expired. Depreciation has been nothing short of catastrophic. After only 3 years, an E-Pace typically holds on to just about 34% of its original sticker price, which means more than $30,000 in lost value for many first buyers. Even dealer networks have earned criticism for poor service experiences, adding insult to injury for those already frustrated with mechanical troubles. By 2024, Jaguar announced the discontinuation of the E-Pace in the United States, acknowledging that the market had spoken loud and clear. With this final entry, our countdown reaches its conclusion, proving that sometimes the prestige of a luxury badge cannot mask the cold reality of poor reliability, massive depreciation, and ownership experiences that drain both patience and bank accounts. And there you have it, the 13 worst-selling cars in America right now. If you found this eye-opening, smash that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more insider breakdowns. Don't leave your next big purchase to chance. Stick with us, because the smarter your choices, the stronger your wallet.